What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Patrick, aka Addicted to Combat, back for another week of best bets and props. This one for UFC San Diego, Vera versus Dominic Cruz. It should be a really fun main event. A mixed bag of fights on the prelim and the main card. 13 fights overall. 3 fights were scheduled, on other cards, but now are placed on this one just due to weight misses and things like that. So I'll go over all of that. I'm going to go over mostly my money line plays and the props that I am playing on this card. All of my betting action I have placed. Then a couple of other props that I do like, but I'm not going to place. I had to cut it off somewhere. I do like a lot of props on this card. I think there's a lot of value in the props. I went over with Lou Betya from the MMA Engine, a live stream last night. We went almost 2 hours going back and forth, trading, contrasting opinions on this card. So go check out that replay. I added timestamps for your convenience to skip to certain fights you want opinions on. Also, my full card breakdown I did on Monday, which went over all of these fights in great detail, my opinion on who wins and how. So I'm going to just go over briefly, the money line picks, starting with Yusuf Salal. Minus 110 on the money line. I put 1.1 units to win, 1 unit in return. That's how I've played all of these money line picks, by the way. He's facing Damon Blackshear, who is the CFFC bantamweight champion, making his short notice debut in the UFC. Definitely a deserving shot from Damon Blackshear, but it is on short notice, and Yusuf Zalal has had 6 UFC fights already. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, aiding in this discounted money line, but the guy is used to fighting killers at 145. Good prospects like Sungwoo Choi, Ilya Tupuria, and Sean Woodson. These are all big, very powerful and dangerous featherweights. And he kind of took those fights. He was a very active featherweight. At 25 years old now, he has taken over a year off, cut down to bantamweight for the first time, and now is going to fight a guy making his short notice debut. I'm on the side of the experience here. I think Zalal can out-wrestle this guy all day, and I'll be willing to wager that at only minus 110 on the money line. So give me that. Next up, Ode Osborne. Again, 8 years of youth over Tyson Nam, who is a 38-year-old. In October, he'll be 39-year-old flyweight. So at flyweight, the age is a very big factor for me here. Ode Osborne's been looking good outside of getting knocked out by Manel Cape. Top tier guy, that's going to happen to him. But Ode Osborne way more active at this weight class. A younger guy, bigger reach by 5 inches. And he's just got a more well-rounded MMA game in general. Tyson Nam, more of a headhunter, looking for the knockouts. And at flyweight, I can't bank on that puncher's chance, especially when he's been off for over a year and a half and he's 38 years old. So minus 225 on Ode Osborne. I'm very confident he gets this done. Moving on to somebody I'm even more confident in than that is Martin Buday, paying minus 255. I'm paying that price, 2.55 units to win 1. Martin Buday has had 1 UFC fight, 1 Dana White Contender Series first round knockout as well. He shows that he's just a bigger guy, very strong in the cage, strong in the clinch. He's got finishing power with his damaging knees to the body, to the legs, and eventually to the head. That's how he finished Lorenzo Hood on the Contender Series. That's how he finished Chris Barnett earlier this year in the UFC. Lucas Brzeski, a big guy, but he's going to be giving up 30 pounds potentially in weight here. We'll watch the scales tomorrow, but last time he weighed in, he was only 234 and a half. Martin Buday cuts down to 265 at the limit there. And Martin Buday is a big guy, but he's proven he's got good enough cardio to last all 3 rounds of the fight. His last time out, Lucas Brzeski lacks a lot of defense. Looks like he's going to look to empty his gas tank early, so not really into that. I like Martin Buday and all of his skills here. He's got a very good record, decent opponents, only losing to a UFC caliber Juan Espino. So give me that, minus 255 in Martin Buday. And the fourth and final money line right now is Marlon Chito Vera, minus 230. I paid that price to win 1 unit in return. 7 years of youth at bantamweight here. So 29 years old versus the 36-year-old Dominic Cruz, who is a very, very challenging test here. Don't get me wrong. I like everything about Cruz, but in his old age, I just can't really back him this time. He's going to be the guy who not giving up, not giving up output striking-wise. He probably will win a lot of the striking numbers statistically, but In his last fight, Marlon Chito Vera just proved he can be outstruck highly versus Rob Font and still clearly win the fight and almost finish it at certain points. So the more powerful striker, the more diverse array of skills in the striking realm for Marlon Chito Vera. He's going to have a big reach advantage here, and a reach advantage and size advantage that Dominic Cruz is not really accustomed to at any point in his career before. So, and the final nail in the coffin for me for Marlon Vera here was he's got the 5-round cardio. He was finally proven to show he can go 5 rounds, put 100% into every strike, and continue that effort over 5 rounds. I like him here. He could be outstruck and win the fight, and I like that quality. I think the Rob Font fight was a very telling sign that he's ready for this step up in competition against a legend like Dominic Cruz. So give me that minus 230 on the money line for Marlon Chito Vera in the main event. My last money line is one that I would do a live betting strategy here, and this is Nate Landwehr, who I think is very live here against David Onama. I think the side of the value is on the Nate Landwehr money line. But I think David Onama could finish Nate Landwehr in round 1. I think that potential exists, and I think that's David Onama's best path to victory here. But if this gets outside of round 1, Nate Landwehr has proven he's got 5-round cardio over pretty highly experienced veterans in the M1 global scene overseas. And Nate Landwehr, his output actually accelerates as the fight goes on. He's had many fights where he's got comeback victories, finishes in the later rounds. Some of his best rounds are round 3s. And I think if you're getting plus 240 on the money line now, before the fight starts, if David Onama can start strong, but he can't put away Nate Landwehr after round 1, if you get like plus 275, plus 300 live odds between rounds 1 and round 2 on Nate Landwehr, I'd be interested in throwing 1 unit on that live. I'm not a big live bettor myself. Not sure I'll get there if I'm even going to be around to pay attention for this fight, but that will be my strategy, because I think Nate Landwehr's forward pressure could be a big problem for David Onama as this fight goes on. So those are the money lines. Not many underdogs, right? It's all 4 favorites I'm paying the chalk on. We do have the Nate Landwehr live betting strategy as an underdog. I really wanted to put money on Nina Nunes, but I just can't find myself brave enough to do it. Although I think at plus 145 in a fight with Cynthia Calvillo, who's looked as terrible as she has, I think the plus 145, if you can find that out there, I don't even know if it's gone up from that price. I think that's the value side, but a very sketchy fight between 2 women that haven't looked the best, and I don't want to put my money on that, so I couldn't find myself. I was hoping my guy Lou Betya last night on stream would talk me into it, but he looked at me like I was insane when I asked him if I should play it. So staying off of that one, but I did get talked back on to replacing my bet on Josh Quinlan. Moving over to some props now. Josh Quinlan by knockout, I think, is his path to victory, his only path to victory over Jason Witt, the very good wrestler. So it's either Jason Witt can survive at all points in the fight the knockout power of Josh Quinlan and wrestle his way to a decision victory, or Josh Quinlan, who's got power in rounds 1, 2, and 3, finds the chin of the very chinny Jason Witt, who's been knocked out like 6 times, and Josh Quinlan is super powerful. So I think in this case, his knockout prop becomes his money line. Instead of paying like minus 250, minus 260 on the money line of Josh Quinlan, I took the knockout prop at minus 112. A little bit, $12 more, so I got plus 100 on it last time when it was booked last week. Now I'm paying minus 112. Wasn't happy about it, but this is in essence his money line, so I took that prop, paying 1.12 units to win 1. And I still have my round 3 knockout prop on Cachoeira, Priscilla Cachoeira over Ariane Lipski. Quarter unit play at plus 2,000. I even saw plus 2,200 out there this week. My bookie kept that bet in place, so I had quarter units on that riding from last week. This is up a weight class now at bantamweight after Lipski missed weight last week, so she's already going to be susceptible to get pressured and knocked out. I don't know what physical shape she's in. I like Cachoeira by knockout as well. Last week I had that at plus 575, a quarter unit. This week it's up even more. Lipski's a bigger favorite, Cachoeira a bigger underdog when this got rebooked, plus 625 on the Cachoeira knockout. I did replace a quarter unit on that as well. I think the forward pressure of Cachoeira is very scary. Her durability is very good, and I think she can pressure Lipski and maybe give her 3rd TKO loss in the octagon. She's lost Ariane Lipski. She's lost 2 of her last 3 fights by stoppage from strikes. So I'm laying those quarter units. I think that the value there is pretty insane. So another one with insane value where, kind of like Josh Quinlan, I think that their finish prop actually becomes their money line. This is Gerald Meerschaert to submit Bruno Silva is plus 525. I put a quarter unit on that play as well. So I'm sprinkling a lot of quarter units on these like long shot props here, but they're not that long shot when you consider Gerald Meerschaert. That's basically his money line, right? He's the submission leader at 185 with 8 submissions, more than anybody else in the history of the middleweight division in the UFC. The second most finishes at 185 with 9 finishes as well. So this guy's got insane finishing stats. Never won a decision. If he wins the fight, it's going to be probably by submission. I don't think he's going to knock out Bruno Silva, right? So, does Bruno Silva win this fight in most worlds by knockout? Sure, maybe he does. But at plus 525 for the Meerschaert sub, I'll put the quarter unit on that. I also like Devin Clark to win by decision at plus 240 over Azamat Murzakanov. Murzakanov is a very dangerous Russian striker. Death touch in both hands. Don't get me wrong, I'm not sleeping on the power of Murzakanov. I like the guy, but again, he had 1 UFC fight. Devin Clark is at 13. So to get Devin Clark by decision at plus 240, I put a half a unit on that because, out of his 7 UFC wins for Devin Clark, and he's faced a lot of good opponents, 6 of those 7 wins have been by decision. 8-1 in decisions overall, so he's good at winning decisions. He gets them often. One of these top control wrestle heavy game plan guys. He's actually fighting over at Team Elevation, training with guys like Curtis Blades who employ this very same strategy. So he's going to go for it, go for the takedowns. I haven't seen Murzakanov have to face an offensive wrestler the way that I've seen Devin Clark employ that game plan. So maybe Murzakanov has really good takedown defense. Maybe he can stuff the takedowns and knock out Devin Clark. That's fine, but to transform the Devin Clark underdog price of like plus 125 to plus 240, where it's most likely, I like that prop a lot. So, again, the big selling point for Devin Clark for me is 13 UFC fights against a lot of top 205ers versus the 1 UFC fight of Azamat Murzakanov. And he had 1 UFC fight that he was losing up until he won in the 3rd round. So, I like those props. I do have a prop parlay between Gerald Meerschaert and Bruno Silva. Fight does not go to decision. Parlayed with Gabriel Benitez and Charlie Ontiveros. Fight does not go to decision. So, if you want numbers attached to that, Bruno Silva, 4 of his 29 bouts have gone to decision. So only 4 of those. For Gerald Meerschaert, even crazier, only 6 of his 49 fights have gone to decision. These guys are finishing machines. Same with Benitez. Same with Charlie Ontiveros. Especially Ontiveros, man. He's so, I think, 15 of his 19 fights have ended inside the distance. Usually him quitting or losing or getting TKO'd or slammed or injured. I think both of these fights have a very, very high chance of going, finishing inside the distance. So the combined parlay odds for that is minus 155. I paid 1.55 units to win 1 in return. Very confident in both of those, so I figured why not tie them together because the odds alone were like minus 375, minus 400 on those fight doesn't go. So nobody thinks that these fights are going to, go to the scorecards. I think it's a good chance I can parlay those together. So those are all of my plays, money lines and props. A lot of really wacky variety of props here that I'm just putting, quarter unit plays, half unit plays, but they pay out big if they do. So moving on to some props that I really do like. There's 3 of them, but I'm not going to play them. I've just already stretched myself thin with my bankroll on this card, and a sketchy one at that. So I'm not going to play these, but I do recommend them. I like Lupita Godinez to win by decision over Angela Hill, minus 155 on the decision prop, to transform her, minus 350 and then some money line, which I think is far too wide of a line on Lupi Godinez. I do think she wins. But again, this is at strawweight or a 120 catchweight bout. The finishing potential for these fights is not that high. The likelihood that she can get takedowns over Angela Hill, control her over 3 rounds, and win that decision at minus 155, not a bad prop. Martin Budai versus Lucas Brzeski. Again, 2 heavyweights that are not very proven. A little bit lower to mid-tier heavyweights here, especially on the side of Lucas Brzeski, who's making his debut. The under 2.5 here at minus 145. I like that one because it covers the knockout ability of Lucas Brzeski if he can find the chin of Martin Budai. If he does, it covers that. If Lucas Brzeski's gas tank fails him and he gets knocked out by Budai within the stretch, it covers that for the most part. You just have to make it, to that, just the finishing potential of halfway through the 3rd round. I think if it goes past, I think if it's going to finish, it's not going to be anytime after, that final portion of the third round. At that point, usually heavyweights at this level are so slow moving and gassed that they end up just looking like they're, kind of like zombie walking around. The finishing potential at that point in the fight is not that high anyways. So I saw fight doesn't go to decision, which would cover all 3 rounds, all 15 minutes. That was somewhere closer to like minus 200. But if you just cut it down and cut out that last 2.5 minutes, you get minus 145. I thought that was a decent discount. I saw that on Bovada Sportsbook. Budai, Brzezinski, under 2.5, minus 145. Ode Osborne decision at plus 215. Again, transforming his money line at like minus, what did I pay for it? Minus 225. I think it's up at like minus 240 now. To transform that and flip it to plus 215 to win by decision. Again, these are flyweights. Him and Tyson Nam are flyweights. Finishing potential is good for these two in particular, but overall the weight class doesn't finish all that often, and Tyson Nam has not been finished in about 9 years. So the toughness of Tyson Nam, the ability to win the fight for Ode Osborne, just have more striking output, even the ability to grapple in this fight. I like this, and they're 125ers, so fight doesn't go to decision, or I'm sorry, fight goes to decision also is plus 125. Again, Tyson Nam is tough, Osborne is pretty durable as well, and these are flyweights. So I like the decision prop at plus 215. Fight goes to decision at plus 125 as well. So there's 4 props that I like that I'm not playing, but I'd recommend them. They're not bad. It's not bad value props. So, all right, you guys, that pretty much covers it for UFC San Diego, Vera versus Cruz. A lot more betting action than I thought I would have. Overall, not stretching the bankroll too thin here. All the prop bets, as I mentioned, are just like fractions of units versus whole units. So we'll see what happens. I'm pretty confident in all of these money lines, paying the chalk on them. I like all of the props as well. A lot of these props where, the method of victory becomes the fighter's path to victory, their only path to victory, like Josh Quinlan, like Devin Clark, and like Gerald Meerschaert, as I mentioned. So those are my reasoning behind those. Leave a comment below if you guys have any sneaky props as well. And good luck in all your betting action. And I will talk to you guys on Sunday for the recap and results. Next Wednesday, my 3rd live stream will be another guest that a show I've been on theirs before. So back in June, I was on the Pickin' Winners YouTube channel with my guy Tom and my guy Keith. I may have one or both of those guys on Wednesday. I know I'll have Tom for sure at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time this time on Wednesday. Another live video there. We're going to be talking the next pay-per-view. So it'll be fun to have my boy Tom. Hopefully Keith can join us as well. But if not, check out those guys' YouTube. They do very good work, and they drop their predictions super early in the week on Sundays. They do a live stream over there on the Pickin' Winners YouTube channel. So go check them out. That's my next guest for next week. So good luck in all your betting action, you guys. I will talk to you on Sunday. Cheers.